Okay, elders, it's great to be with you. I will be doing this next activity in English so that others who view this video will be able to understand and use it as well. But since we're focusing on Spanish, and you've just arrived in the MTC this week, we're going to learn how to use a really helpful strategy, and we're going to focus on some basic steps or ways to learn a language that will help you in whatever you do to learn faster. All right? These are the steps right here on the board, and they're very basic, and we'll just go through these as we learn Moroni chapter 10, verse 5, a verse that will be useful to all of you in your teaching. How many of you think you're going to be sharing the promise of Moroni very often with your investigators?
Probably.
Yeah, lots of times. So we wanted to start out with something useful. Okay, let's go ahead and turn to that, open up to it in Spanish, and we're going to just take you right through these steps. And if all goes well here, at the end you'll say, wow, we really learned that. And these steps work. Okay, I think I found it. Verse 5, not a very long verse, so it'll be good for our purposes today. Now, the very first step in learning this verse, Moroni 10:5, is to focus on the meaning. Why do we share Moroni chapter 10, verse 5?
To invite others to pray for themselves and find out if the Book of Mormon is true.
That's right. Is that essential to our purpose? Yeah, it's critical, isn't it? People have to read and they have to pray and they have to get their own answer. So this is a very valuable, very important verse for us to be familiar with. Okay, now, do you feel fairly familiar with this verse in English already? Okay. You've read it before, multiple times probably. Shared it with someone before? Good. Well, step one is whenever you want to learn something in a language, you need to focus on the meaning of what it says. The reason we communicate in the first place is to share meaning, to convey information to someone else. So the meaning is the whole reason we talk. And if we sort of skip that step, then we're just focusing on these things that we don't understand what they mean. So always take the time to figure out the meaning of what you're trying to say or what someone else is saying. So let's go ahead and look at verse 5. And we're just going to go through this word by word and work out the literal meaning of the Spanish. Sometimes it'll be like English, sometimes it won't. That's okay, we'll talk about it. Okay? So let's just go ahead and start with the very first word. What's the first word there?
E.
Okay, E. Does anyone know what E means? And. That's right, it means and. By the way, you can have your English open if you want, and that's like your cheat sheet, and it'll really help you because most of the time it's going to be the same word. Okay, it's the word for word will compare across from one verse to the other. So you can just look at the English verse to make sure that what you think it means is what it means. That's right. E means and. Do you see and there in English?
Yes.
Right, so and. So what's the second word in Spanish?
Por.
What's the second word in English?
By.
By. Okay. Does anyone know what por means?
For.
Yeah, we often say it means for. It also has a sense of by. Okay, by way of, by the means of, okay, but it means by and it means for. Okay, so in English we say and by, and then what's the third word in Spanish?
El.
Yeah, what does el mean? The. How does it look in English? Same word? Yeah,
Yeah.
and by the. Okay, how about poder?
Power.
Is that the next word in English? Okay, that's nice. Okay, what's the fifth word in English? Of. Okay, do we see the word of there in Spanish?
No.
Not exactly. Who knows how to say of in Spanish?
Day.
Day, yeah. Here we have of, but before, a little bit earlier, we said that the way to say the was el. So how come, I would think we'd see day and el there, but I don't. I see del. Does anyone know what del means? It's like the word can't in English. It combines two words. So del means of the. There's a new word, okay? So let's go back. Let's do everything so far. I'm going to point at each word. I'm going to say the word in English, and you say the meaning I'm going to say the word in Spanish, and you say the meaning of the word in English. So y,
And.
por,
By.
el,
The.
poder,
Power.
del.
Of the.
Perfect. Okay, how about espíritu? Okay, yeah, it looks like spirit, doesn't it? You can see spirit right in the middle of the word. So, espíritu means spirit or ghost. So where's the word holy, do you think? Yeah, santo looks like saintly or holy, and that's what it is. So in Spanish, how do you say Holy Ghost?
Espiritu Santo.
Uh-huh. And the literal meaning of espiritu is
Spirit.
spirit or ghost. Santo, holy. So it's like ghost holy or spirit holy, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's the way they say it in Spanish. All right, so now we're about halfway. Now in English, what does it say? By the power of the Holy Ghost, what will happen?
You may know the truth of all.
Okay, ye may know. Wow, okay. Now we have a little bit more complicated word coming up next. This word is, can anyone say that word after Santo?
Podres.
Podres. Anybody have any idea what that means? Podres.
No.
Okay, good. It looks a little bit like a word right above it. Can you see a word above it?
Podres.
Okay, power. Podres actually means ye may. Okay, it's almost like you would or you will be able to. Okay, so it's a conjugation that we're going to get to in class, but not today. So right now, all you need to know is that podres means ye may. Okay, can you remember that? Okay, podres means ye may. And then the next word is conocer. What is the next word in English?
No.
Okay, and has anyone heard the word conocer before? Little bit. Okay, conocer is another way to say no in Spanish. So here we have podres means what?
You may.
And conocer?
No.
Ah, there we are. Ye may know. Wonderful. How about la? The. It's the other way to say the. That's right. And then verdad,
Correct. True.
correct or true? And what does it say in English?
True.
Truth. That's right. So here, verdad means
Truth.
truth. Okay, let's go back to santo. Right after santo, I'm going to say the Spanish word. You tell me the English. Podres,
You may.
conocer,
No.
la,
The.
verdad.
Truth.
Well done. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, and then we have de. What did we say de meant?
Of.
Okay, is that what we have in English too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
See.
You know the truth of. Okay, and then what's the rest of English say?
All things.
All things. Now this is interesting because Spanish has 3 words after de, and English has 2. So we got to find the meaning of all things in these 3 words. The first one is todas. Does anybody know what todas means?
It's total. Everything.
Yeah, all. Yeah. So todas means all, and then how about las? The. It's a plural the. Yeah. It's like la, but now it's plural, so it has an S on the end. And then the last word is cosas. What does that mean?
Things.
Things. So literally we have de is of, todas is all, plural, las is the plural, and cosas is things, plural. So all 3 words had to be made plural. That's something we'll get to eventually in Spanish. But what's interesting is in English we don't have to say all the things, but in Spanish we do. Okay? Any questions about anything that we've talked about in this verse? Okay, let's go over it one more time, see if we can still remember. I'm going to say every single Spanish word, and you can chime out the meaning. Ready? Y,
And.
por,
By.
el,
The.
poder,
Power.
del,
Of the.
espíritu,
Spirit.
santo,
Holy.
podres,
You may.
conocer,
Know.
la,
The.
verdad,
Truth.
de,
Of.
todas,
All.
las,
The.
cosas.
Things.
Perfecto. Very well done.
Oh, funny.
Okay, if you don't have questions, if you do, go ahead and ask them. If you don't, we can go like that. Step 1 is done. Oh, there's my pen. Okay, now if we just focused on meaning, and we really have in our minds right now what this verse means, don't we? Now it says to focus on form. Anybody know what form means?
Is it like grammar or what do you mean?
It can be grammar. It's actually all the physical things about language. It often includes pronunciation. It's where things are and how you say them, and also how they sound. Language is made up of 2 things. There's the meaning that you want to share with someone, and there's the words that you have to clothe the meaning in so that you can convey it in this physical world that we live in. Because meaning's in our heads. We all have it, but you can't taste it, you can't touch it, you can't smell it, you can't hear it or see it. but you can hear and see words, and so that's what we use to convey the meaning. We just dealt with the most important part of language, which is meaning. Now we're going to deal with the way we convey it, which is the physical forms. Now, we actually have already started doing that because I've said to you these words several times now, haven't I? Let's go through and just make sure that we don't have any questions about pronunciation. And if you want to ask questions about why things are where they are, if it's brief, we might be able to answer that as well. Okay? So, let's do it this way. Why don't you read to me slowly the verse, and I'm going to listen to you and see if there's any pronunciation things we need to address. So start out just nice and slow. Go ahead.
Y por el poder del Espíritu Santo podréis conocer la verdad de todas las cosas.
Wow, muy bien. That was well done. Very well done. Your teachers have been teaching you pronunciation very well. This time, let's do it together just a little bit more because we want to start feeling comfortable and almost as fluid with the pronunciation. So I'm going to say a little string of words and you just repeat it back to me. Y por
Y por
el poder.
el poder.
Y por el poder.
Y por el poder.
Y por el poder.
Y por el poder.
Espíritu.
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 Del Espíritu.
Del Espíritu.
Del Espíritu.
Del Espíritu.
Espíritu Santo.
Espíritu Santo.
Del Espíritu Santo.
Del Espíritu Santo.
Y por el poder
Y por el poder.
del Espíritu Santo.
Del Espíritu Santo.
Some of you are looking, that's fine. Some of you aren't, that's fine too. When we get to step 3, our goal at the end of step 3 is to be able to do it without looking. Okay, so we're not there yet. If you want to work on that, that's fine. But if you want to look, you're absolutely welcome to at this point. Podrés.
Podréis.
Podrés.
Podréis.
Conocer.
Conocer.
Podrés conocer.
Podréis conocer.
Podrés conocer.
Podréis conocer.
La verdad.
La verdad.
La verdad.
La verdad.
Podrés conocer la verdad.
Podréis conocer la verdad.
Las cosas.
Las cosas.
Las cosas.
Las cosas.
Todas las cosas.
Todas las cosas.
De todas las cosas.
De todas las cosas.
Muy bien. Okay. Preguntas, questions about the pronunciation? Okay. Any questions about why words are where they are? Have we sort of addressed that already? Okay. All right. You're welcome to have questions. Don't worry. Okay. Let's go on to step 3. We want to get to where we can really practice it and have it feel natural and not difficult, but we also want to get to where we can do it without notes. And so we'll start out in step 3 doing some longer segments, and I want you, as you can, to try to look up and just repeat after me. If you have to look down, go ahead, because at the end of this little segment, we're going to have you turn to your companion and quiz each other a little bit. You'll be able to get to where you can do it without looking. Okay? All right, here we go. Y por el poder
Y por el poder
del Espíritu Santo
del Espíritu Santo
podréis conocer
podréis conocer
la verdad
la verdad
de todas las cosas.
de todas las cosas.
Now, think about the English. And by the power of the Holy Ghost. See, because we've done step 1 and step 2. We've got the meaning, we've got the form. If you think about the meaning, you can start to construct the form, even if you forget a little bit. And by the power, y por el poder of the Holy Ghost, del Espíritu Santo, and by the power of the Holy Ghost. Y por el poder del Espíritu Santo,
Y por el poder del Espíritu Santo
podréis conocer
podréis conocer
la verdad
podréis conocer la verdad
de todas las cosas.
de todas las cosas.
De todas las cosas.
De todas las cosas.
Of all things.
Of all things.
Oh, in Spanish.
De todas las cosas.
Muy bien. Okay, you're almost ready. The next thing that we want to do is to be able to say, I want to say it down to about that much. Maybe I want to be able to say the first half. Okay? I look at it real quick. Y por el poder del Espíritu Santo. Go ahead and look at the first half if you need to.